Hey there, Facebook family and friends. Well, I usually say good morning or good afternoon, but it's a Saturday, I think afternoon. I don't even know what time it is. So we're just going to say hello. I hope you're having a great day and it's been a good week. Usually I make these videos Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I try to do it earlier in the week, but it's just been one of those weeks. I've had some productive days and non-productive days. Life has just been life. And so this is when I'm finally getting around to make the video for this week. So if you'll open your Bibles, where this is part 2 of our Romans chapter 8 series, we're going to be reading in verses 5 through 8 in the New Living Translation. Hello, Rachel. I hope you're doing well. So again, Romans chapter 8, verses 5 through 14 in the New Living Translation. Before we dig into the word, I want to read this old Native American parable to you real quick, okay? It says this: an old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. He says to his grandson, "There's a fight, there's a war going on inside of me. It's a terrible fight between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. But then there's also another wolf that's living inside of me," he continues on to his grandson. He says, "The other one is good. It is joy and peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." And he says to his grandson, he says, "The same fight is going on inside of you as well as everyone in this world around you." The grandson stopped and thought for a minute, and then he asked the grandfather, "Grandfather, which wolf will win?" And the grandfather responded, "Grandson, it's the one that you feed." So this parable issues a basic and fundamental reminder. You are a powerful person. Although it's easy to feel like a victim, and although you may want to point your finger at other people, at other things, at other whatever outside of yourself, and shift the blame to other things when things don't go right, doing so is not an effective form of coping because it takes away your personal responsibility and your freedom of choice. I found an article online. It's pretty short. I want to read it to you real quick. It says this: "It's easy to feel like a victim in challenging situations and circumstances in our lives. We want to understand negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative emotions. So we place blame on other people, other objects, or even other events. We look outward to try to make sense on what is going on inside of us. We do this all the time. Why is that? It's a way of coping and feeling more control in uncontrollable situations. The problem with this approach, however, is that it takes away our personal responsibility and freedom of choice in our attempt to feel more in control. By faulting others for our experiences, we actually strip ourselves from our own power. That power is lost the moment we become dependent on another person or another thing to bring us joy and make us feel a certain way. Whether that feeling is positive or negative, we no longer are taking sole responsibility for our own emotions and experiences, and we believe that they are a result of anything other than our own choice. By exercising your freedom of choice, you can make life-changing decisions to which wolf you're going to feed. So listen, you have control over whether life circumstances and situations are going to dictate you and dominate you, your well-being and your emotions. Listen, only you have the authority to decide whether or not you're going to engage or disengage with the stuff, we can call it, that happens to you in life, okay? You must be certain of this. You have a choice. One, you have a choice whether or not you process through life's adventures, okay? Whether you process through and come to the other side. And you also have a choice on how you process them. Two, you have a choice which emotions you are going to entertain and which ones for your own personal well-being, for your health, for your safety, which ones that you're going to push away, you're going to disregard or discard. Number three, you have a choice in determining whether to, determining the degree and the limits of how your high and your low, your mountaintop and your valley experiences will support you as an instructor, a mentor and guide, or if they will be a daunting dictator and ruler to you, embezzling your joy, hope, and peace. And finally, you have a choice whether or not to let the hurts of life define you, whether you're going to allow them to chart the course of your life and to cause you to become stagnant, corroded, and filled with decay, or listen, you have the choice and you can choose to take dominion over those things, to advance and to flourish. You have a choice. You need to hear this today. Of all the things that you hear from me, you need to hear, you have a choice, okay? Even if it doesn't feel like it, you have a choice. Can you say that? Can you say, I have a choice? I have a choice. Good. I'm so glad that you're interacting with me. It's great. So with that in mind, the title of my message today is Down the Rabbit Hole We Go. Now let's read Romans 8 verses 5 through 14 in the New Living Translation. It says, those who are dominated by the sinful nature think about sinful things, but those who are controlled by the Holy Spirit think about things that please the Spirit. So letting your sinful nature control your mind leads to death, but letting the Spirit control your mind leads to life and peace. For the sinful nature is always hostile to God. It never did obey God's laws, and it never will. That's why those who are still under the control of their sinful nature never can please God. Listen, here we go. Verse 9, it says, but you, can you say, but me, but I, and you are not controlled by your sinful nature. You are controlled by the Spirit if you have the Spirit of God living in you. And remember, those that do not have the Spirit of Christ living in them do not belong to him at all. Verse 10, it says this, and Christ lives within you. Did you know that? Christ lives within you. So even though your body will die because of sin, the Spirit gives you life because you have been made right with God. The Spirit of God who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you. And just as God raised Christ from the dead, he will give life to your mortal bodies in the same Spirit, by the same Spirit that lives within you. Now this is the whole crux of the whole thing. Are you ready? Because we've been leading up to this point in this sermon. And this is in verse 12. Listen to this. It says, therefore, dear brothers and sisters, you have no obligation to do what your sinful nature urges you to do. Let me read that again. It says, therefore, dear brothers and sisters, you have no obligation to do what your sinful nature urges you to do. For if you live by its dictates, you will die. But if, catch that, but if you, through the power of the Holy Spirit, put to death the deeds of the sinful nature, you will live. Choose life. That was my little insertion there. For all who are led by the Spirit of God are children of God. So listen here. Paul, in this part of his letter to the Romans, is reminding us, reminding you, he's reminding the world. He says, listen, you have a choice. You can choose to live by the flesh and please the flesh, which leads to death, or, oh, I love ors. I love that. See options in here. And he says, or you can live by the Spirit, which leads to life and peace. Paul, inspired by the Holy Spirit, implores us, you are free to choose. Like, I can just see Paul, I can just see him, he's all excited. Like I'm excited right now. What I'm excited about is I love being set free. The Word of God sets us free. And so here, Paul, inspired by the Holy Spirit, says, you are free to choose. You are not a slave. You have been given freedom of choice. And what you do makes a difference. So choose wisely. Although life is truly full of lots of choices, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel boxed in. I feel like I don't have a choice. Have you ever stopped to consider that? Like, why do you sometimes feel like this is the only option and there are no other options? So here's for instance, have you ever pondered why, for instance, if God tells us in Jeremiah 1:5, he says, before I formed you, I knew you and approved of you. And then in John 15:16, Jesus says, you didn't choose me, I chose you. So why, if those two things are said in the Bible, and the Bible is 100% true 100% of the time, why sometimes do we still tend to feel rejected, cast aside, neglected, or maybe even discarded? Well, I can't say I know all the answers. I do know a few, so there's really no way to know it all. So here's what I think. I think that one of the reasons why we sometimes feel different than what the Bible actually says is because we have either intentionally or unintentionally, or possibly even both, intentionally and unintentionally, believed wrongly. I think it's possible and probable that there's times where we have believed a lie over God's truth. And one of the reasons why is because our eyes have not been opened up and exposed to truth yet, okay? Yet. Got it? Not yet, because it's going to happen, okay? So in the movie The Matrix, one of the main characters, Thomas Anderson, who's also known as Neo, is a computer programmer by day, and by night he is a computer hacker. Neo has always questioned his reality, but the truth is far beyond his imagination. One night, in a scene I'm about to show you, a mysterious woman named Trinity introduces Neo to a man named Morpheus. Morpheus knows a factuality that Neo does not know. He says, none of what's going on around you is actually real. Let's watch this clip. It's about 4.5 minutes, okay?
This is it. Let me give you one piece of advice. Be honest. He knows more than you can imagine.
At last. Welcome, Neo. As you no doubt have guessed, I am Morpheus.
It's an honor to meet you.
No. The honor is mine. Please, come, sit. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice. Tumbling down the rabbit hole?
You could say that.
I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
So Morpheus in this clip, like Paul, offers the truth. But what Morpheus does that Paul does not do is he offers Neo a warning. He gives Neo notice. He says, listen, I'm empowering you, Neo. Are you ready? And he tells Neo, he says, but listen, after this, there is no turning back. And then, as one final warning, one final way out for Neo, Morpheus again forewarns Neo. He says, remember, all I am offering you is the truth. Now, I told you that Morpheus did something that Paul didn't do, but I'm going to tell you, to a certain degree, I don't know that I even believe what I just told you, because I believe that Paul has done the same thing. Paul told us that earlier that there was no condemnation for those in Christ, and he reminds us in this letter that what Christ did was enough to satisfy the law, which ends our slavery to it. Then Paul holds out both of his hands. And one of Paul's hands is the blue pill. And its contents will let us go about life as usual, agreeing with the lie that life just happens to us and that we can just agree with it and that there's just not a dadgum thing that we can do about it. But you see, Paul then holds out his other hand. And in that other hand is a red pill. And if we choose this pill, listen, we are never going to be the same. The same he told, just like Morpheus told Neo, he says, after you take this, there's no turning back. If you choose to swallow the red pill, your eyes will be forever opened to the truth. And what does it say about the truth? The truth shall set you free. So what is this truth? Have you stopped to think about that? Even as I've been pondering and processing through this, what is the truth? What mysterious secret has been concealed from us? Well, listen closely. That means you take your phone or whatever device and you listen real closely, because I'm about to share with you the secret that is the truth. And it's going to blow your mind and it will radically change your world. Are you sure you want to know? Are you listening carefully? Do you want to know what that truth is? Because listen, once you know the truth, there is no turning back. Here's your last chance. I'm going to give you one more chance to just turn this video off, to back up and back away, because listen, what I'm offering you is just the truth. And the truth is this. Are you ready? Friends, family, you have no obligation to do what your sinful nature urges you to do. You have no obligation, none, nada, zip, zero, zilch, not a little, not some, not just a, hair here and there, not at all. You have zero obligation, no obligation. That means that no matter how you feel, no matter what you're thinking about, no matter how something appears to be, you are under no obligation to listen or entertain that thing which is vying for your affections, that's vying for your joy, that's vying for your peace. You are not a victim to your circumstances. You have a choice. Webster's 1828 dictionary defines obligation as this. It says, it is the binding power of a vow, promise, oath, or contract which constitutes legal or moral duty and, are you ready for this part? Listen, this is the key to it, which renders a person liable to coercion or punishment for neglecting it. You have no obligation to do what your sinful nature urges you to do means this. It means that those things which have in the past or are currently trying to coerce you into the present, that thing that in the past has threatened you or is currently trying to threaten you in the present, that threaten to steal your joy, threaten to steal your peace, your purity, your prosperity, your health, your family, your livelihood, whatever it is that is threatening you even to this day, listen, you no longer have an obligation to it, and it no longer has any binding power or authority over you. Period. Not a comma, not a semicolon, a period. And so choosing to remain obligated to those things would be like choosing to remain a slave to it. And it would be like choosing to swallow that blue pill, which keeps you in ignorance and leads to death. So as I close out, I found this quote online. I cannot find the author of it, so you can just probably search for it. Maybe if you find it, you can let me know who it is. But I heard this quote online, or I found this quote online, and it says this: you are under no obligation to be the same person that you were a year ago, a month ago, or even 15 minutes ago. You have the right to grow. No apologies. So as mighty men and women of God, we have to decide to be aggressively and unapologetically choose to consume that red pill and choose to feed the wolf that brings peace, joy, life, strength, all of those things, okay? Do you remember what Morpheus said to Neo in that video? Do you remember it? We just played it a couple minutes ago. After what we've learned, I'm going to read this to you one more time. And I'd love for you to get into a posture of receiving, of engaging in this. And this was Morpheus speaking to Neo, but I'm just saying, what if you heard the Father's voice speaking these words over you, okay? So with my family, when I did this message for them, I asked them to close their eyes if they wanted to. If you're doing this in public, you can still close your eyes. People think you're taking a nap. It doesn't really matter. However you receive best, I just want you to receive and picture the Father speaking these words over you. I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. I can see it in your eyes. You have the look of one who accepts what he sees because he is expecting to wake up. Ironically, this is not far from the truth. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you can feel it. You've felt it your entire life. It's that there's something wrong in the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. And it's this feeling that has brought you here to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you want to know what it is? It is the Matrix. The Matrix is everywhere. It's all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it when you look out the window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. The truth is this. Truth is that you're a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. The prison is in your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there's no turning back. You take the blue pill, story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever it is you want to believe. But if you take the blue pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, what I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Now follow me. So, family, as what I did with my biological family, my extended family, was I played a song for them, but I'm not going to do that for you right now. But I want to leave you with these couple of questions, something for you to ponder on your own. When the Lord gives you an option of a red pill or a blue pill, do you feel obligated to stay in a place of ignorance and take the blue pill? Or do you eagerly, but possibly sometimes cautiously, mustering all the strength and courage you can get, select the red pill, trusting that the Father has a greater reality and a more excellent truth to reveal to you? So those are good questions. And I really hope that you take some time to ponder that. I don't know about you, but there's some times where I've even said in the most recent times with my husband, Kelly, I say, babe, life was almost easier when I didn't know, because once you're responsible for something, or once you know something, you're actually responsible for it. Have you found that in your walk as a Christian? Like, once I knew the truth about pornography and abortion and all these other things, it's actually a little bit more challenging. But it's also easier because I have the Holy Spirit living inside of me who empowers me to take the blue pill, to get out of ignorance and jump into truth and to walk in the light. So what about you? Do you prefer to stay unaware? For some people, I think that that's the easiest. And I don't even, there's no condemnation in what I'm saying. I think that there's just times and seasons where to swallow the red pill would require so much more of me, and I don't know that I'm ready for it. I don't know that I'm ready, so I don't. And there's times where it seems easier to swallow the blue pill. You know, what do people say? What I don't know won't hurt me, right? But I would suggest and I would propose to you that the blue or the red pill is the better way. Because when your eyes are opened up to truth, I don't believe that God opens our eyes just to leave us stranded. I believe that when he opens up our eyes, that he actually gives us what we need, the ability to process through those things and to walk in victory. So today, I bless you, and this week I bless you to be everything you were created to be. Nothing more, nothing less. Perfectly perfect in every way. I bless you to know who you are and whose you are. I bless you to get a better and a bigger, more powerful revelation of the Father, of his character and his nature, but most importantly, of the love that he has for you. Did you know that you're his favorite? You most certainly are. And so am I, which is really, really awesome. But I bless you to walk in the knowing, the deep, deep knowing, deep, deep inside of you, knowing that you are his most favorite, that he loved you and he chose you before the foundation of the world. And they're banging outside, so that means it's time for me to stop. So they're doing remodeling work. I bless you to have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.